Earlier on, I recognized the presence of a Mastercard Foundation Director, Human Capital Development, Phil Cotton, who should be also giving us his remarks. Phil, if you're around, please.
Thank you so much, Irene, for the invitation. It's a long time since we last spoke. I was working at the University of Rwanda at the time, and much of what you talked to me about was a dream. Many, many congratulations on Enable's achievements. I'm sorry that I can't be with you physically, as I'm in Ghana today, though my colleague Wariko is with you in the room. We so appreciate Enable's leadership in bringing us together and driving forward this important dialogue and the concrete action that's needed to truly deliver inclusive societies. We're glad to be partnering with you on this. And thank you to all who've taken the time to gather with us today. As you've heard, my name is Phil Cotton, and I'm Director of Human Capital Development at the Mastercard Foundation. And I'll share a little more about the foundation shortly. But I really want to emphasize up front that we are not here today because we think of ourselves as experts. In fact, we believe that role belongs squarely to young people with disabilities, whose lived experiences we're here to listen to and to learn from. Instead, we see our role very much as collaborators, as citizens of our global community, and as those who share the conviction of everyone in this room that all people deserve an opportunity to learn and to prosper. And we have a shared responsibility to dismantle systemic segregation in our world, whether it presents itself online or offline, in fact, along any lines. And we share the conviction that our communities are stronger and that this continent is stronger when we all have equal access to opportunity and equal protection of our basic rights. And so, with that said, let me give you a little background to the foundation for those of you who may not have heard of us. The Mastercard Foundation is a private global foundation whose work is focused on Africa. We were set up in 2006 through the generosity of Mastercard at the time of its launch onto the stock market. But in a visionary act, they made the unprecedented decision that our foundation would be independent of their company. And in our first decade, we focused on advance to education, reaching over 45 million people. One of the initiatives we're perhaps best known for is the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program, which enables talented young people from economically marginalized communities to complete their secondary and their higher education and to cultivate leadership skills. So far, that program has supported over 40,000 young people with a strong emphasis on inclusion. Over 75% of our scholars are young women. The Scholars Program is now the largest scholarship provider for young refugees on the continent. And we've set a target of enabling many more young people with disabilities to access higher education, which we're on our way to meeting through partnerships across the continent and the world. And what we've experienced through our work in the Scholars Program is that inclusion is the start of greater inclusion, that creating access for even one young person has a quite catalytic effect. And I'll give you an example. Michael Samaki is a young man from Zambia. He was admitted to the University of Toronto in Canada under the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program. Michael is deaf, and in his first year, he not only had to adjust to a new city 12,500 kilometers away from home and to keep up with his courses, he also had to learn a new language. Since he didn't use American Sign Language in Lusaka. Most people in his campus didn't even realize that sign language wasn't universal. Before long, Michael was teaching American Sign Language to his peers, and he got so many requests to learn basic sign language that he started a club, which drew an average of 60 students every week, and Michael didn't stop there. After joining the University of Toronto's Students' Union, he submitted a proposal to the university faculty to develop a course on sign language and deaf culture. And that course kicked off in January this year, an official accredited course of the Linguistics Department at the University of Toronto. Michael is just one example of the catalytic power of enabling access for young people with disabilities, of how even the simple act of being intentional about having young people with disabilities present and in the room can reveal challenges others simply wouldn't have noticed.